Nope, this is not a nightclub in the late 90s or early 2000s. This is the Extratime.com League of Ireland Voice Notes podcast, and what you're hearing in the background is Kerncraft 400's Zombie Nation being played just after full time at Tolka Park, where Shelbourne beat St. Pat's by 1-0. It's a second defeat in a row for St. Pat's, but for Shels, it stops a bit of a rot. They'd lost 2 on the bounce. They drew on Monday night. That was a decent result, but they're back to winning ways with that victory against the Saints. John Martin with the only goal in the first half. We'll hear from Pat O'Connor of Extratime.com, who was at the game. At Oriel Park, Noel King, in his first game in charge, watched his team win 2-0 against Bohs. He actually took very little of the credit. We'll hear from him a little bit later on, and we'll get the analysis of John Flanagan. We're also in Tallaght Stadium, where Shamrock Rovers drew 1-1 with Galway United. Stephen Bradley says his team didn't deserve to win. He chatted with Macdara Ferris after the game. We'll hear that a little bit later on. We'll also hear the thoughts of Ollie Horgan, and Barry Murphy will break it all down for us. Elsewhere, Waterford losing 2-0 to Derry, and Drogheda United beating Sligo Rovers by 3-1. Drogheda United back in action on Monday night when they take on Shamrock Rovers in Tallaght. It's hard to know where to start. You know what? Let's start in Oriel Park. Noel King back in the League of Ireland. His team 2-0 winners against Bohs. And this is what he had to say to Adrian Taff of LOI TV and LMFM after the game.
I thought the lads were fantastic, really, from the onset. Really went at them and performed well, scored 2 goals, could have got more, and full marks to them. I thought they were fantastic.
Yeah, creating chances has been a problem for Dundalk this season, but you wouldn't have thought that on the evidence of tonight.
No, could have been more, should have been more, but that's the way it goes sometimes. These things go in highs and lows, and you hit a bad patch, and hopefully this will be setting us out of a bad patch and carry on forward.
Yeah, sometimes luck plays a little bit of a part as well. James Akintunde, if he takes that one, it's a very different final 30 minutes potentially.
100%, yeah. You could match that one, and that's the easiest chance of the day, which is, but we did have other chances that we missed as well, so back and forward it was great. And full marks to the 2 lads, Brian Garland and Liam Burns. I followed them through last week, every day training, matching their work, and what they've done today. They really deserve the highest plaudits for winning the game today. Really.
Do you see them staying part of the setup?
Well,
yeah.
As far as I know, they are. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that Liam is with the first team coach, and Brian is the director of operations.
Yeah.
So they're both behind it. They're both fully...
In the dugout, though, do you see them being part of it, or are you going to have a number? Are you going to bring in a number 2?
We'll see how that goes.
Okay.
You know, this has given us a little bit of breathing space anyway, and if we do something, I'd like to make sure it's the right thing we do, and not just satisfy the numbers to make us fill the bench or whatever.
Yeah, it was really nice as well tonight. 2 of the old stagers. Robbie Benson got man of the match, I know, over the Tannoy, and John Mountney put in a hell of a shift as well on the right hand side.
Yeah, we know John. I know John for a long time, and I know Robbie as well. These UCD days, 2 very, very good players. Different manners, but both determined to win. Different styles, should I say, and 2 talented boys. You know, to have them in your team is amazing. Gives you a chance.
Tremendous togetherness and spirit tonight, and despite of the bad run, there was plenty of confidence in the play too.
Yeah, and I think that goes down to what I said to you during the week when the 2 lads were with the group. The group seem a solid group. They understand football. It's not their first rodeo, and there's a nice movement amongst them, and we have to keep building that if we want to get out of it.
And you're
because
back
we're
here
not
again.
Out of it, by the way.
I understand that, of course.
Nobody is fooled by 3 points, because that won't be enough.
This is the Extratime.com League of Ireland Voice Notes podcast. You just heard Noel King there speaking to Adrian Taff of LOI TV and LMFM. He is not taking any credit for the victory against Bohs. He said that Liam Burns and Brian Garland, who had been leading the way over the last couple of weeks, led the way again this week, and he just kind of more or less was in an observation role. John, what kind of night was it? Was there any reaction or kind of noticeable noise from the crowd that was Noel King related beforehand? What was it like at the end? What kind of night was it in Oriel Park? Before we actually get into the game itself, atmosphere, what was it like?
In terms of any reaction to Noel King, there didn't seem to be anything in particular. Didn't seem to be any flyer banners or chants or. But the crowd were definitely there. They turned out a number to support the team, and in fairness, the team gave them something to get behind. So the crowd responded in kind, and there was a fantastic atmosphere the whole way through. Plenty of chanting, singing, drums going, and the team and the supporters fed off each other. But as you said, Brian Gartle and Liam Burns were the ones standing up in the dugout. They seemed to be driving everything. Noel was literally sitting in the dugout in that observational role that you mentioned. So all credit to the two boys.
So judging off that interview from Noel King himself and from what you saw at the game on co-commentary for LMFM and LOI TV, we still don't know what Noel King is bringing to Dundalk. At
the moment, no. I mean, as he said himself, he wanted to observe. He wanted to, I suppose, get an idea of what he was getting into. It didn't seem to have any of his fingerprints on the game as such. It was a continuation of where Brian and Liam have taken the team. They were a lot more direct. There was no possession for the sake of it. No sideways passing. It was go forward, go early. And it was very noticeable tonight that he gave the Benson and Scott High in the middle license to get forward as much as possible. And John Mountney coming back in really added a bit of steel and energy down the right-hand side.
And was Mountney at fullback or was he on the right of midfield?
They played Mountney in the right midfield with Archie Davies behind them, and it really worked out. They really complemented each other really well. John, he gave Paddy Kirk a torrid time at left back. He every time Dundalk broke, he was just gone in behind. But he was the focal point for kickouts and things like that. He hit him everything, and he led from the start. He led by example, and I thought he was my man of the match tonight just for what he brought. He was brilliant.
Talk me through the goals scored by Scott High and Robbie Benson. I'm not sure if it was in that order, but look, you can inform us of that.
Scott High got the first one, and I have to say before we even start with two world-class strikes. From a ball broke to Darryl Horgan on the left-hand side. He played it back to Scott High out of 30 yards out from goal. But from a Bohemian's point of view, he wasn't closed down. No one came near him. He just took a touch and he sent an absolute screamer of a shot into the left-hand post and in off the post. Gave Fishek absolutely no chance in goal. The wonderful strike, and that really got the crowd going. Like, it was the first goal in Oriel, and it was a fantastic strike. Second goal was again Mountney down the right-hand side. Scott High busting through from the midfield. He pulled it back via Darryl Horgan to Robbie Benson on the edge of the box, and this is one you had to see. He just took a touch, so composed, and just whipped one right into the stanchion. Gave the defence no chance.
What about Bohs? Were they really bad? Were they unlucky? What about their performance?
Yeah, I kept saying this in commentary because Rennie has them playing really well, and I think they're at the winning. Is it 4 and 5 or 4 out of 6? They were disappointing for me. They really missed. McDonald wasn't fit to start in the middle, and the balance wasn't right in there. And they were very poor. They looked shaken then when that goal went in. The distribution from the back was very poor. They just didn't really get going at all. But then he changed it at half time. He went 3 at the back. He had McDade and Dale Rooney as wing backs, and both came flying out of the gates at half time. They really put pressure on the Dundalk at a couple of chances. Won themselves a penalty, and Akintunde took it, and it was a poor penalty. Good save by the keeper, but a poor penalty, and that really changed the momentum. Where we were kind of saying in comms that if Bohs had got that, they'd have half an hour then to come chasing to get an equaliser and possibly a winner. But when they missed the penalty, it swung back in the Dundalk's favour.
And that's a big moment for Shelby, who's had a tough start to life at Dundalk. Just before I let you go, we'll go back to Noel King there. He seemed to indicate in his interview that he doesn't know what his backroom team is. Now, given the nature of his appointment, maybe that's no surprise because he was surprised to get the job. But is that a worry for you that long term you do need a vision and you do need leadership in any team, especially teams that are fighting relegation? And maybe, just maybe, there's a bit of uncertainty there still.
Yeah, I suppose when you look around the league, managers seem to come in and they think that they bring the number 2 with them, or they bring coaches, strength and condition, goalkeeping, whatever, with them as a package. So when Noel came in, he seems to have come in on his own. But maybe that the fact of having Liam Burns there from previous and now an incumbent first team coach is going to bring a bit of stability to the players. Noel's going to come in and again, shocked, as we said it again in comms, shocked and all as we are at the appointment. It's done now, and we have to kind of, as fans of the club, get behind them and support them and hope things work out. And you're hoping that he'll bring that experience and stability. And then Liam Burns coming in, he's going to provide that link between the players and Noel. So if that's the structure going forward, hopefully it'll work out and the two boys will be able to work well together.
Noel King was a combative midfielder. Now, he could play as well. I spoke to someone today who kind of compared him to Roy Keane. Is that the kind of character you need around Dundalk at the moment? That kind of combative, single-minded, bloody-minded character. Noel King, a bit like Filippo. It's crazy, but it might just work for a while anyway.
Yeah, he probably maybe that's what he had. He was a little terrier, tenacious, and that's what the Dundalk seem. The players they have seem to, I think, will suit that. If he wants to, because the energy, the work rate, the intensity, the tackling, the effort tonight, that was all there tonight, and that's what Noel brings. I know he hasn't instilled that yet, but that's what he loved, and the fans love that up there. They don't really mind if you play poorly. Once you've given everything and you've won your heart in the sleeve, you're throwing yourself into tackles, you're basically giving everything for the cause, and he will bring that. And you're hoping as well that he has experience that when things aren't maybe going too well, he'll be able to circle the wagons and put things in place that'll kind of pull them out of this slump.
Okay, John Flanagan, former Dundalk captain, thank you for joining us on the Extratime.com League of Ireland Voice Notes podcast. You watched Dundalk get a 2-0 victory against Bohs, a first win of the season in Noel King's first game in charge. John, thanks.
No problem. Talk to you soon, Oisin.
This is the Extratime.com League of Ireland Voice Notes podcast. In Tallaght Stadium, Shamrock Rovers held to a 1-1 draw by Galway United. Extratime.com's Macdara Ferris was there and afterwards sent us this voice note.
Hi Oisin, what's the saying? Nobody beats Galway United 22 times in a row. Well, that was the case here in Tallaght Stadium on Friday night as Galway United drew 1-0 with Shamrock Rovers to stop the rot of 21 consecutive defeats against Shamrock Rovers' first team. But they came ever so close to winning their first game against Rovers in Dublin for 30 years. It required an 84th minute Johnny Kenny goal to prevent Galway United from winning the match. It's back-to-back games against Galway United that Johnny Kenny has scored in the 84th minute. In Eamon Park, it was for the winner. This time around, it was just for an equaliser as Rovers came within 6 minutes of losing. They really should have won the game. They were the better team. They didn't play particularly well, but they did have a penalty early in the first half that Brendan Clark did really well to push around the post from Dylan Watts, who took the spot kick. Rovers were missing an incredible 10 outfield players from their team. Suspended was Dan Cleary and injured was, and I'm going to list them off, Graham Burke, Sean Horn, Neil Farrugia, Lee Grace, Jack Byrne, Aaron McAniff, Gary Neal, Richie Towell and Marcus Boom. And it meant that they named 7 teenagers on the bench, including one 16-year-old Matthew Britton, who came on to make his debut. I'm old enough to remember his father, Matt Britton, senior, playing for Shamrock Rovers. And he came on late on. Johnny Kenny was a substitute, and he was the one that got that equaliser. But Galway had a couple of opportunities in the first half. They forced Leon Poles into a couple of saves. The United fullback Janet Eshua had got up, and on the other side Alamin Kazim, he caused a little bit of difficulty for Rovers at stages, but it was scoreless at half time. But they got the opener 10 minutes into the second half. Stephen Walsh raced onto kind of a hooked over shoulder pass from Ed McCarthy, and he drove his low shot past Leon Poles. That was for his second goal of the season and just Galway United's 7th of the campaign. They had a chance soon after that maybe to make it 2-0, but Rovers pressed strong. So they only made the 2 substitutes. They didn't bring on any others, and they're really down bodies. Spoke a little bit about that with Stephen Bradley after the game, because they've got a match coming up on Monday against Drogheda United, which if they do win would bring them back up to second place behind Shelbourne. Derry City's win elsewhere this evening meant that Rovers dropped down to third place. But yeah, it finished here at Tallaght Stadium. Shamrock Rovers 1, Galway United 1.
Let's hear now from Shamrock Rovers manager Stephen Bradley, who spoke to Macdara after the game.
Slightly disappointed because we had the penalty, obviously, but I didn't think our overall performance deserved to win the game, to be honest. I thought, we were really, really poor, to be honest. We were slow, sloppy, really poor decisions. It looked to me we had a few players that got really comfortable, understanding that the squad is tight at the moment, and that doesn't that doesn't work around here, you know. We've seen that tonight, and we'll change that fairly quickly.
Like we were counting out the first team players you're missing, it's 10. And is the worry then you're loading up minutes on the players that are available to you? Like, it's great to be able to have the like Sean Cavan and put him in the back three, but is that worrying that you're maybe stretching the players that are fit at the minute?
Of course, yeah. You look at Dylan Watts has been brilliant for us. Played nearly every minute. He's been really, really high level, and you'd love to take him out and look after him, but we are where we are at the moment. There's no excuses. We have injuries. We're starting to get bodies back, which is good. But the starting 11 that started tonight are good enough to go and win any game against any team in this country. And we're just a million miles off our level, you know.
You had 7 teenagers in the mention, 20-year-olds, Johnny Kenny. Matt Britton came on. I'm old enough to remember his dad playing for Shamrock Rovers, Stephen. So, but I think he's only 16. Like the fact that you're able to get these guys on the bench, but also give them some game time. He's obviously a player that you want to see progress.
Yeah, I really like him. He's one that played for us in pre-season and really liked what he did in pre-season. He got how we played really quickly. He understands position, gets the game, lovely touch, really good attitude, which is no surprise when you know his dad and his dad's played the game. And when you combine all that, he has a real chance. And the impression he made in pre-season obviously stays with you, and then when the opportunity comes up, you've no fears about putting him on. And to be fair to him, for someone who's 16, I thought he showed moments of real quality and showed the reason why we did put him on, which was great to see.
I mentioned Sean Cavan playing in the back. He gives a real outlet with he's pinging these diagonal balls over to Darragh Burns, balls up the line. Like I know you've had Gary O'Neill playing in there before, but Sean has had that experience, but he slotted in really well, I think, tonight, and gives you maybe a different option when you need that.
Yeah, he gives us real balance, Sean. Wherever he plays on the pitch for us, he gives us balance, because he's that wand of a left foot that can play, like you said, all types of passes. He can penetrate through 2 lines of their press very quickly, and I thought Sean was brilliant, considering he hasn't played and he's been out for a long time, and we've been cautious about putting him in. He's to play 90 minutes, and some of his quality was really high level. You know, I thought he was he was the one positive for us tonight.
How difficult it is. You're in the middle of these. It's 3 weeks of back-to-back Friday, Monday matches. At least these ones are home for you. You got Drogheda on Monday. How difficult is that? Players want to play. We talked about the injury list, but just how difficult it is, like these 3 weeks in a row at this time of the season.
Yeah, look, it is what it is. There's no. Look, I don't believe in complaining about the schedule, because we all know it.
And Monday's game is refixed because of the snow.
So we just get on with it and deal with it. Unfortunately, it's fell when we've got a few injuries, but that's life. That's why the best team always comes out on top in the league, because you've got to deal with different scenarios, different challenges, and tonight we just weren't good enough. We've got to be better on Monday. Drogheda won well tonight. They'll come with a game plan very similar to Galway, I would imagine, and we've got to be a lot better than what we were tonight.
Great, Stephen, thanks, Mel.
And Macdara was very busy, because he also spoke with Galway United assistant manager Ollie Horgan. This was his reaction to his team drawing 1-1 in Tala.
Before the game, you would take the draw with open arms. When we rode our luck a little bit with the penalty, you felt we could go on, and we were, while we were, we had to sit back in our own half, and that they never really opened us up with all the quality that they had, and then they undid us through a set piece, which that's a disappointing part. But coming up here and being disappointed that you didn't win is certainly a positive, because any time you get a result up here and they're few and far between, you earn it.
Well, let's put more meat on the bones of this game now with former Shamrock Rovers, St. Pat's and Bohs keeper Barry Murphy, who was at the game and on co-commentary for LOI TV alongside Con Murphy. Barry, what did you make of the match, first of all?
Yeah, it was a good game in the end. Galway came with a definite game plan, something they've kind of deployed over the last 3 games. Possession-wise, they're happy enough to give it up. I think they 29% possession in the end tonight, and similar over the last 2 games, and came away with 5 points from the last 3 games, I think it is. So listen, it's worked. It's not pretty on the eye, but it's so effective. They all know their jobs so well, inside out, and kind of restricted Rovers to maybe 2 or 3 chances throughout the whole game, which not a lot of teams can say that this year.
Stephen Bradley, in his interview, said that Rovers didn't deserve to win the game. Is he right?
They did or didn't?
Didn't. Did not.
No, he's right. I didn't think so at all. I think that they were poor. Didn't the only time they really tested Brendan Clark with some of the penalty spot, bar the goal. They just didn't get shots on target. Darragh Burns a great chance to get shots away. Fluffed his line a few times, took them over. The set pieces deliveries were awful tonight. Hit the first man nearly every time, bar the goal they eventually got. But they looked desperate at times. Balls into the box, cleared out, and just a real urgency to get strikes away, and just took it over the bar and let Galway off the hook a couple of times where it was there to recycle out wide and put it into the box. They just didn't do that. Very untypical Rovers like really tonight. Just they looked kind of panicked, and obviously that they were down to the bare bones. They had nothing really to bring off the bench, bar Johnny Kenny to change it.
How much of that was down to Rovers and how much of that was down to Galway?
It's 90% Galway. They were brilliant. All over the pitch. McCormick, Borden in the middle, the big lad, Clarkey when he was called upon, and the two lads at centre half were excellent. I thought Stua, the right back, was really impressive tonight actually, and Kavim on the other side, him and McCarthy doubled up on Darragh Burns and didn't give him too many opportunities to get the ball into the box. So the game plan worked perfectly. We thought it's the exact same team started out. The 4-2-3-1 or the 4-5-1 nearly falls into up in Derry and got the win up there. It's the exact same team, and the template was there for tonight. It's the exact same. It kind of unfolded the same way. A long ball cleared up the pitch, and he got onto the end of it, and it was a great finish from Walsh to put them 1-0 up, and they were unlucky to concede from the corner, and really Rovers would be happy to get out there with a point.
Rovers play again on Monday night at home to Drogheda United. Do you think they could nearly do without that game, or will they be glad to have the opportunity to get it right so soon?
It's a bit of both, really. I was just looking at the bench. Like, it looked like the mascot sitting on the bench tonight. 18, 19-year-olds from the academy up there. The only really recognised name was Johnny Kenny to come on, and I don't know. I think listen, Stephen Bradley was talking about Marcus Poon maybe making it back for Monday, but bar that, they're stretched thin, and when you think of the size of their squad, I think last week he was talking about 73% player availability rate. Was the lowest he's had in his reign, and since then he's lost Richie Towell and one or two others since that statistic came out. So they really have to. I'm sure there'll be every inch of data will be covered and as to why they're losing players at this rate. It's unprecedented, really. But I think they could probably do without the game on Monday, and obviously draw the bouncing into that off a really good win tonight.
And look, I'm conscious that it might seem that we're asking what went wrong for Shamrock Rovers. Obviously, things went right for Galway, and you have mentioned that. But put a bit more meat on the bones. What really impressed you about Galway tonight? I think this might have been was tonight your first time seeing them in the flesh this season?
Yeah, I was really impressed with them. As I said earlier, that they know their jobs inside out. The work rate of Dervin played out on the right, and it was a great spectacle himself and Trevor Clark going up and down the wing in a constant battle. Hurley was immense in midfield. As I said, the two full-backs just did their job so well. They didn't have the ball, the 29% of the possession, so you were just watching their shape, really, and they set up to play out a couple of times and trick Rovers into pushing up and kind of stopping them playing out, but Rovers didn't kind of fall for it. They knew that ball over the top is the one they wanted to play. But no, it was really impressive. O'Sullivan did well, gave legs, extended the pitch a bit in the first half, but the quality finish from Walsh, he was only on the pitch. A great little flick on for him. I think it was McCarthy flicked it on for him over his head, and then it's a brilliant finish into the far corner. It's exactly it went to the game plan, right to the tee. Really, couldn't have gone any better for them until the equaliser.
Okay, just before I let you go, I know during the week you weren't cracked about what Damien Duff said about Shane Farrell. Now, as we speak, I haven't heard Damien Duff speak after the game. I know he said before the game that he'll support Shane Farrell and that from here on in, if Shane minds himself, he'll be all right. What did you make of what he said and the fact that he publicly criticised one of his players and kind of more or less hung him out to dry?
Yeah, when you initially hear it, it's a bit kind of shocking to hear when you first hear it. But then I've thought about it more, and I think, listen, it's obviously the last resort for Damon. He's a thoughtful guy. Like he would have thought this through, and I'm sure it's come to a point now where he's brought him aside obviously himself and said it to the team. I'm sure probably said things from to him throughout his career and his lifestyle off the pitch, and it's come to a point now where he needs that kick up the you know what to get him going, and that's what it is. And you listen, you seem to have taken it the right way. Listen to Sean Boyes interview throughout the week. It's the same feeling within the team. So when you've got that and a manager saying to you, you really have to kind of look at yourself at this point. And I don't think he would have done it in that kind of style or manner without it needing to be done that way.
Okay, just before I let you go, Barry, celebrity Shamrock Rovers fan Graham Merrigan, I'm sure you know him. I want to say congratulations to him because he was acknowledged at the DLR Community and Volunteer Awards ceremony to recognise his amazing contribution to disability and neurodiversity with the Volunteer of the Year award. The Ballybrack Bulls, it's late at night and I've done commentary, so words are hard to pronounce for me, say they're incredibly proud and hugely appreciative of him. Now, Graham, despite being a Shamrock Rovers fan, is a good fella. I'm sure you know him well and you're delighted for him.
Yeah, he's a top man and he does so much for the club and for disability rights and everything surrounding that. And yeah, it's just nice to see people like that, good guys, acknowledged as well. So yeah, congratulations to him.
Yeah, I'm delighted for him and he deserves the recognition that he's after getting there. He deserves a lot more as well, to be fair. A really good fella, Graham. Do you know what? I've never actually met him, but I've followed his podcast and follow him on Twitter and all that. And I like what the guy's about, Barry. Game appreciates game. As they say.
He must be a lovely fella. He's good mates with Padjo Flynn, so he must have a high tolerance as well.
Oh, Padjo, one of the most enjoyable interviews I ever did was when he retired. And remember the statement he released?
Yeah.
Oh, it was just
had
amazing.
A few good ones over the years, but if you can put up with him for that many years, you deserve a prize.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, Barry Murphy, thanks very much for joining us on the Extratime.com League of Ireland Voice Notes podcast. I presume you're going along on Monday night?
I am. I'm on Co-Com duty again that night.
Okay, well, I might go to Tala, but if not, I'll chat to you via this device, via the Zoom, as they say. Barry, thank you.
Yeah. Talk then. Thanks, Lucian.
Well, it's almost time for us to wrap things up on the Extratime.com League of Ireland Voice Notes podcast. If you could, by the way, please like and subscribe and rate and review on whatever platform you listen to this podcast on. It really, really helps us out. Let's go through the First Division scores, where there was back-to-back wins for Cork City. Well, they completed back-to-back wins. UCD also with the second win in a row. There was a third victory in a row for Athlone Town and a fourth victory in a row for Bray Wanderers. Just to remind you of the scores: Treaty United 0, UCD 2, Athlone Town 2, Cove Ramblers 1, Bray 2, Kerry 0, and Finn Harps 0, Cork City 2. So what does the table look like in the First Division? Well, it looks very good from the Cork City point of view. They're on 28 points. They're the leaders. UCD second on 27 points, 7 points behind with the same amount of games played. Bray in third on 18 points. Finn Harps fourth on 18 points. Athlone fifth on 18 points. Wexford sixth on 15 points. Treaty United seventh on 12 points. Cove Ramblers eighth on 10 points. Kerry second from bottom on 9 points. And Longford Town bottom of the pile on 4 points. In the Premier Division, just a reminder of the scores: Shamrock Rovers 1, Galway United 1, Shelbourne 1, St Patrick's Athletic 0, Drogheda United 3, Sligo Rovers 1, Waterford FC 0, Derry City 2, and Dundalk 2, Bohemians 0. So what does the table look like in the Premier Division? Shelbourne still on top. They're 3 points clear of Derry City. They've both played 13 games. Shamrock Rovers are third on 12 games. They're on 20 points. They play their game in hand on Monday night against Drogheda. Bohs are fourth on 19 points. Interestingly enough, Alan Reynolds said that they didn't play well against Dundalk, but they aren't going to get carried away, just like they didn't get carried away when they won games. Galway, fifth on 16 points after 12 games. St Patrick's Athletic, sixth after 13 games on 15 points. Sligo Rovers, seventh on 14 points after 12 games. Waterford also having played only 12 games. They're on 13 points. Drogheda second from bottom with 11 games played on 11 points. Just 3 points ahead of Dundalk, who got their first win of the season against Bohs, beating them 2-0. They're on 8 points after 12 games. More League of Ireland action to come this weekend. There's games today in the Women's Premier Division. At 3 o'clock, Bohs take on Treaty United. Peamount United take on Galway at 5. At 6, Wexford take on Shelbourne. Sligo Rovers up against Cork City at 7. And Athlone Town meet DLR Waves at 7:30. What does the table look like in the women's Premier Division. Galway United on top on 12 points, Athlone second on 7 points, Shelburne third on 6 points, Peamount fourth on 6 points, Treaty fifth on 5 points, Shamrock Rovers sixth on 4 points, Cork City seventh on 4 points, Bohemians eighth on 3 points, Sligo Rovers ninth on 2 points, DLR Waves 10th on 2 points, and Wexford bottom on 1 point. Now, I'm stating this from a position of ignorance, but I'm not sure how many people would have seen Wexford bottom of the season at the start of the season, if that makes sense. Thank you for listening. Luke will be back with a deep dive into everything that's happening in the League of Ireland during the week. I'll probably be back on Monday evening with a short Extra Time voice notes podcast reacting to Drogheda United away to Shamrock Rovers. Have a nice weekend. We'll talk to you soon. Don't forget to check out extratime.com for everything that's going on in Irish football. And of course, you can follow me via X on @Oisin Langan. We would welcome your feedback, good, bad, or indifferent. Hopefully it's good, but if we're doing something bad or something you don't like, or if we're not doing something you think we could be doing, by all means, let us know. I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.